and I will turn off some. You guys could mute your video, mute and video. Turn off your. And Lloyd, what I'll do is I'm going to go through some slides that I have here real quick, just to go through. There's a lot of people that I don't know if they're familiar with what we're even talking about. So I want to kind of go through some of the basics and some of the slides that I have. And then at the end, we're going to go through and I'll give it to you as far as I'm calling it a show and tell.
Okay.
And we can, you could share your screen and then you can kind of take over. I'm assuming you downloaded some data that you have that you trade for playback.
You know what?
If you don't, I
No.
have some, and then I'll just give you control, take my machine. We can do it that way too. But
okay.
So let me go through the slides, and then we'll go from there, and we'll have some questions and answers and all that stuff. So let me do this. Stop videos. I know there's a button in here to stop all videos, but let's see. I'll take Dan. I'm going to stop your video, Danny. Okay. All right, here we go. So, and we are recording this. So, all right. Well, anyway, thank you for joining today. Thanks, Lloyd, for helping me come in here and kind of put this little show and tell together. I know a lot of people have asked about setup 9 specifically in the Helix, and I know Lloyd's been trading it manually for a couple. I guess a couple weeks now, and he's been posting in the chat room his status and whatnot. So I just want to kind of give him the opportunity to because a lot of people are like, well, how do I trade it? Where is it? And so, well, the automation is not there yet. Matter of fact, I got some more logic yesterday. So actually my trades, the actual trades themselves are executing the way I want them to. So they are doing that now. The only thing that they're not doing now in the auto mode is the exclusion part of it. There's some exclusions that we don't want to take trades. And at that point, we don't have those in yet. And so therefore it will take the trade. And so until that's done, I still don't want to, let the real true automation, kind of hit the street. But Lloyd's been doing it manually because he knows the rules. And so people will say, well, what are the rules? Nobody knows the rules. So we kind of go through that, and Lloyd will show you, what he's looking for. I know he has his little system too that, like everybody discretionarily can tweak. So in any event, without further ado, let's go through that. So I've kind of put together a little presentation. I'm going to show you how to download it. If you don't know how to download it, I'll show you how to download it. And then what is Helix specifically, and the auto mode and the manual mode. And then we'll talk specifically about the setup 9A is really what it is. It's a 9. It's just one of the many setups that are in there, but setup 9A, there's 9A, B, C, and D, and A is the trend. So we're going to be talking about the trend because that's the first one I have set up. And then we got the continuation, C is the breakout, and D is the reversal. And you'll see those in the settings. Today's webinar, though, is only going to be talking and really be concentrating on the manual mode and the triggering rules on when you could just say go, whether that be on the Helix or in your own system or whatever it might be. And I'm going to go over some internal settings and where to find those settings, and how to change them, or at least where they are and what they mean. And then we'll do a quick Q&A, and then at that point I'm going to turn it over to Lloyd. So my point should only take maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes or something if I can get through it real quick. And then I'll turn it over to him, and then we'll actually just turn on some playback and do some playing around. So unfortunately, we're not Las Vegas where you can go in and lose your house without any warnings at all. The government says you got to have some warnings. So apparently they don't trust us. So, you could pause this if you're watching a video. I'm sure you've seen these. I'd certainly recommend you go visit them on the webpage. I'm not going to read them to you verbatim, but basically is, it's hypothetical simulated performance results, are limited, and they don't necessarily mimic the actual market itself. Not going to get into all that, but anyway, just forewarned basically. So anyway, let me introduce Lloyd here real quick. There's the Lloyd. Just a little bio on Lloyd. He's he's a retail trader. We all are. I don't think anybody in here is a big Wall Street firm. I think we're all just retail traders trying to get the crumbs off the big guys. And so anyway, Lloyd is a U.S. Army veteran, and he served 9 years in the Army, and then he settled in Atlanta, where he's at right now. Since been there since '87. He has 6 years of over-the-road truck driving experience until the birth of his daughter, and his desire to be home more was obviously one, which I think in the long run pays off. And it was at this time, maybe that's something to do with his daughter, I don't know. But at this time, he started doing his trading, and that's where it all began. And, he's been in and out like all of us. I go, you just go back and forth a little bit trying to find the niche. It took, 10 years, and it's taken me pretty much the same. But like most things, nothing comes easy with trading business. And so going to trade shows and enrolling in the many trading classes, as I'm sure we all have, and not to mention, indicators galore. That just all's part of what it takes. And it wasn't until 2020 when he reached his desired levels by focusing on his trading psychology. So that's a whole new realm in itself, as far as psychology. We're not going to go there today, but in any event, he now, with all the tools available, it says he thinks he can, we all learn together and make some consistent weekly goals. And as I said earlier, he's been doing that in the last couple of weeks. He's been posting his, not charts or anything like that, just basically, I'm done for the day, and just his results. I mean, we don't have to get into the nitty gritty, but he just does his results, and he posts those for everybody to get jealous over. So as far as me, I'm Steve. I'm actually been in the fire service for 40 whatever years. And I started learning futures on my off days, as most of we work 24, 48-hour shifts and whatnot. So I started doing it on my off days after failing with, I fiddle-farted around with options and forex, etc. I recently retired in 19, and it allows me to concentrate basically more time on trading and doing what I like to do. So I still struggle though. I still struggle with the psychology part of it. And emotions, the board trades, and the fear of missing out, all that kind of stuff all plays. And that's actually how the discipline manager and the Helix all came to fruition, because I can't be trusted. I was just talking about it before I started the recording about how you hit your goal at 10 o'clock, and it's like, well, wait a minute, it's only 10 o'clock. So you got to be diligent. So, and I'm not one for that. So I still have my problems and demons, but I think we all do. So, and anyway, a real quick summary. As I said, I'm going to start with how to download the Helix real quick, and I'll zip through this. Most of you probably already know, but I'll just do it quickly anyway. Trumper.com, you go to the tools menu, and once you get into the tools menu, you'll have a bunch of these. Most of these are free. Can't say all of them, but most of them are free. These are just indicators and strategies that I've developed over the years for me. Simple as that. I just did them for me. And it wasn't until the discipline manager came out where somebody at Ninja, came and said, hey, we'd like to, have you be a licensed vendor and all that kind of business. And I'm like, okay, do it. And so there were some hoops that I had to go through, and stuff that they make you do to do that, and some procedures. Well, one of the requirements that I had to have was a web page and the business. And so I had a business in the past that I had we sold back in 2009. So I had the trumper.com domain sitting idle, under construction. So it only took me, like a day or two to put all this together, and boom, it was done and up and running. And so finally I got approved after all their background junk that they got to do. And needless to say, so that's where all these indicators have been just designed for me specifically. I'm not going to go into all of them, but as I say, most of them are free and you could use them. But we're going to talk specifically about the Helix. So once you go in the Helix page, there's the download file. The very first one here is the download file, and you just click on that one. It just downloads the file, and just like all the others, you just go into imports and do them. I would recommend going here so you can get emails when there's updates, and the version numbers that come down here, the current version numbers, etc. Anytime I do a new version number, I send out an email to the group. You could take yourself off at any time you want, but at least this way you'll get updates of when it is available. This one here is a strategy overview. This is about a 2-hour video. It is a little old, needs to be redone, but it'll give you the whole orientation of, you know, what Helix is all about a little bit. This one down here, though, I do require the third-party licensing. And the reason we used to use just the machine ID, but the problem with all these VPN systems, you know, the virtual systems, everybody shares the same machine ID, and Ninja system requires to have a unique, you know, because what was happening is two people might have the same ID. I mean, you know, if they're all using the same VPN, they have the same ID number. Well, then it's conflicting and it just caused too many problems. So I switched over to the third-party licensing, which you can create your own unique ID right into Ninja. It just does, it's all part of Ninja under the help. So you can click on that. It's like a 1-minute video showing you how to do it, but I would need that to continue because by default, Helix just does a, I don't think maybe 3-4 day trial or something like that. But to continue it, then you would want to click on this and send me your machine ID, your unique ID, and then I could turn you on from there. And there's the current version number. If as I say, I'll change that. So enough said on that one. So this is, if you go to that strategy overview, that one, you're going to take you to this page here. And this is that video I was telling you about. This is like basically a 2-hour video, but I broke it all down. So if you want to know specifically about background plots, you could just click that and it'll take you to, 26 minutes into it. And it's all broken down into segments. So the way we have it set up is, the numeric sections are all plotting and lines and EMAs and things like that. And that's what I was just talking about earlier, the exclusions. There's some exclusions there that this is not doing yet for the automatic mode. So until we get some of those done. But background plots, colors, alerts, audibles, things like that. And then you get into the alpha group, and that's all trade management. B is probably the biggest one. That's all your stop management and how you want to handle it. And then so on and so on. But if you want to get into that, you could, if you want to watch it from the beginning to the end, it's about 2 hours, but it's really designed not to just be able to go to the spot that you want. Anyway, so getting started. So that's how, you download, it's for free, no big deal. This is a beta version. By all means, don't be betting your 401k plans on, at the Wall Street casino, because it's not ready yet. It's just beta. I'm still waiting on some quirks that still pop up, so that's where it's at, and more than welcome to play around with it. All you need, as I say, I do need your third-party machine ID though, and then the how-to video for that is found at the bottom, as I mentioned. Okay, so now people ask me, well, how much does it cost? Well, right now it's nothing. I'm not doing anything with it. So basically, if you were to click this button right here where it says subscription options, it would open up this little window here. And you can even see it says nothing. It's just beta. So you don't have to worry about that right now. But I still require that third-party ID. Otherwise, I think it shuts off in like 3-4 days or something like that. Okay, so that takes care of how to download it. So what is Helix? And the manual and automatic we talked about. Well, basically Helix came from, I had one strategy called trade management, and I had another one that was entry zones. And they were two, one was an indicator, one was a strategy. And I got to the point, and then I had the strategy where it was the ATR. And it came to the point where I wanted to put a couple of these together. And so that hence, DNA is the double helix. And that's where the helix came from. It was in our social hour group that one of the guys, actually, it was Scott or Jimmy, one of the two that we came up after brainstorming. We said, oh, I like that one. So we came up with Helix, which basically is just the two of those together. So you'll see the entry zones. They're not incorporated yet, but they're going to be plotting on the screen that will be the entry if the bar closes. In this particular case on setup 9A, the bar has to close. And once the bar closes, the setup's there, and boom, you'll see your entry zone. So needless to say, that's that's what that is. So today's webinar, though, is specifically going to be only on the 9A, which is trend setups in the manual mode. And we'll have to do some more later, but if you play around with it in this mode, then by the time we get to the automatic, you'll have an understanding. You can go play with settings and stops and trails and things like that as much as you want. So anyway, so here is it right here. And this is what I was talking about. You see here that's got the manual mode. It defaults to manual mode, and it defaults to pause. It's always going to, when you first turn it on, it's always going to show in that order, manual and pause, and for a reason. And So, and then the next one, if you change it, it's just going to look, so that's what I'm talking about. So if you switch it to the auto mode, it just, now that's on, but it's still going to default to pause. So you got to unpause it when you're ready to go. Might change some things like that in the future. I definitely want to change these buttons. I'm going to shrink them down to so they're a little bit more, I don't know, I might put them up on top here. I don't know what we're going to do with them, but definitely going to shrink them down a little bit. I think they're too big because I could only fit like, you know, 8 charts on my screen, and then I start losing stuff, and this takes up too much room. You can move these anywhere you know, you can move them up or down or whatever, but regardless, the default is in the bottom left. So, but that's where they are. Okay, so that takes care of the auto and manual mode. So then let's go into the settings, and we'll talk about the manual mode settings. So the one here, as I think I mentioned just a little bit ago, the numeric numbers are, you know, entry zones, EMAs, colors, audibles, etc. The alpha is all trade management, entry triggers, offsets, and all, you know, trailing management, all that kind of the actual executional part of it. And then, so that's what it says here, like group 0 is just the version number and date, and then the template. Now here's a warning that I should probably caution you on. When you save a template, the template is going to be saved with the template is going to be saved with the version number, that it was recorded on. So now you've updated, and now you're on a higher version, but you bring in this template. Well, it's going to look like it's you know, you're looking at an old version. So there's just some caution in that. If you think you might be looking at an old version, but you really have to look at a fresh template. And if you've saved it as a default, it will pull in, it will save that as a default as that old template number. So if you again upgrade to a higher version, it's still going to default to that if you've saved it like that. So there's some cautions that you have to, if you're off the wrong number and your question, just reach out to somebody, or go into the Skype trade room or something like that and just ask some questions, and I'd certainly help you out. I'm available by any of the chats, or just Skype me, anything, doesn't matter. But anyway, so anyway, now you get into the settings, and this is kind of what the settings look like. Here's all the numeric groups, the version numbers I mentioned, and, you know, higher time frames, syncing to higher time frames, the EMAs, orientation mandates. You know, the 2s are all your exclusions. You know, these are all kind of exclusion things like VWAP. You know, you don't want to trade around there, don't want to trade around high lows, etc. All that business. When you get into 3s, it's more plotting, the background plots, the entry zones are there. You know, as far as the length and things like that you want to do. Alert plots, audio plots. And then here's our directions. We have multiple types of directions. This one here is the one that Lloyd likes to see. I don't use it. I don't particularly care to see it because the background color will tell me that. If it's green, then I needn't to ask further. But this is the one for the manual mode. You will need to activate, or should I say plot, just plot it. It's already activated no matter what, whether or not you plot it, it's activated on a group 9. But if you want to see it, which you'll have to do in the manual mode, you want to actually plot it. So now we get into the alpha groups. And as I said, now it's, you know, all your trade management. This is probably the biggest one you get into. Synthetic, additional options, you know, statistical data, blah, blah, blah. And then group G is your setup. Now, and here, again, as I mentioned, we're only going to be talking about this one here. You can see then group 9 has got a couple other subcategories here. They're like the minimum pullback required. And if you want the group 4 EMA included or not, it's obviously better to have it. So this will probably be defaulted to on or enabled, but it's not technically necessary. If setup occurs and it's ready to go, it'll take it. But if you require that, it'll just take fewer of them. But those are specific to the continuation trade. We're not talking about that today. C will be the breakout, and then the reversal there too, which is, I like that one. But anyway, we're starting with the trend, and we're going to be talking about the 9A only today. And that's it. So group A, we'll talk about that here. The entry trigger, I don't want to get too much involved, because then if you don't, yeah, I don't want to get too involved in this, because again, I'm going to get just specifically to the 9A, but this is where you would do your quantities. In this case, I'm just doing one contract, make it simple. Actually, the design of it was designed for 2 contracts originally, many years ago. It was 2 contracts, but then since then they've even upped it to 3. So 2 contracts. One comes off really early, like in 8 ticks. The only reason why I don't do that is because I have a problem with risking, more than 8 ticks. So you need multiple wins in order to make up for 1 loss. And I have a problem with that one, but that's just me. So anyway, for right now, we're just dealing with 1 contract, or I'm just dealing with 1 contract. I think when we get to Lloyd, he's going to, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's been putting on 2. 1 comes off early and the other one comes off a little later. And 3, I'm not even using. So this one right here, if you notice, I got 999 on that. This is an invalidation setup from reversal bar. I'll talk about that in a little bit when I see some pictures. But the reason why I have 999, because it's not working. The logic's not there yet. And this is one of the things that I was telling you about that was not in there yet. The trade, the executions in the auto mode are working nicely now that I finally got it done and down to where I wanted it to be. But the ones that I don't want are still not logically included yet. And one of them is this one here. And this, if it gets too far away from the reversal bar, we don't want it, because we want to stay tight to that reversal bar. We want it early on, because if we get too far away, it's going to retrace. And what we're going to do is we're going to get in, and then it's just going to pop us out just to get us in back again. So that one is not working yet. So that's the other reason with the auto mode. For the manual mode, group 6.1, as I just alluded to a second ago, this is when you open it up, this is when you'll want to plot for the manual mode, because you will need this component to visualize it. And I'll show you in the picture here in just a minute. I would go with all the defaults that are all designed, for that reason, where they're at. So this one here is optionable. Lloyd does like to have it plotted. I don't, because as I said earlier, that in group 2 further on up on another slide at 2.1 is the orientation of EMAs. Well, these EMAs have to be in order. And if they're not in order, then it won't plot the background. So if the background is plotting green, then we know that the EMAs are in order, because that is a requirement under the 2.1, which if I go, let me see if I can go back to the screen. Yeah, here it is right here. The orientation. 2.1 EMA orientation. If I open that up, I can't, because it's just a picture. But if you open that up, there's options there. And obviously EMA 1 has to be in front of EMA 2, 2 has to be in front of 3, 3 has to be in front of 4. They have to be all lined up for longs and opposite for the next one. So in any event, if you don't have all that, you're not going to get a background color. So you don't really even need to see this one. So, but I think Lloyd likes to see that because he wants to see the strength. But that's personal preference. But this one you will need to do for the auto mode and turn it on. That's that. I will talk real quick just about the synthetic data series here. This is based on a 12-4 Ninja Renko. A 12-4 Ninja Renko is what we're looking for on this particular setup. Now, I know a couple people have tweaked that and changed that, and I, be honest with you, I've played a little bit around different sizes, which I kind of like. But as it stands right now, it's going to be the 12-4. And if you are going to be a beta tester and you play around with this kind of stuff and you tweak it, by all means, switch it up. Change it to some different chart size and play around with it. If you don't have the Ninja Renko bar structure, it's free. If you go to the free things on the web page, there's a link right there to take you to Ninja Renko, or just Ninja, that's who they are, and you can download the Ninja Renkos, and they're just free, and just install them into your Ninja and you got them. So we're using the 12-4. Now in this particular case, though, because we're using a 12-4, if you've noticed here, I've made it a 12-1. So I'm synthetically saying change it to a 12-1 bar structure, because I don't want to wait 3 more ticks. You could change that if you want a real quick settings. You could change that to a 2-1, and a 2-1 would mean that basically a 2-tick bars and 1 tick backwards, and it'll trip you in. So if you were to use the buy on an up bar, all it would need then is 2 ticks and then 1 tick and you're in. So you'd be in like, virtually kind of quick. In this case, I have it set for a 12-1 because I want it to chase a little bit. So if it's going down, 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 the entry trigger is going to chase it down, down, down until it then pops up and gets me in. Or I cancel it because it's gone too far. So that's kind of what that means. And I could talk a little bit more in depth about that, but those are for the type A personalities that really want to know the nitty gritties. Most people don't care. Just tell me what to do. So in any event, I'll let that one go for there. So when you get into the big one, this is, as I mentioned, is a big one. Group B is all the trade management. There's 4 sections in here. You obviously have your stop, your initial stop. Now these settings here, by the way, is for, I was playing around with NQ, and NQ can't use the same settings as ES or crude because it just whipsaws them. So you can't, you really got to, go a little bigger. So don't look at the actual numbers here, but just look at the, the charts or the setting itself. So you've got your target. You notice on target 1, I have nothing. I don't want a target. Now, that my style of trading is I don't like targets. Who am I to tell me where the market's going to stop? Sure, I know where some lines are. I know where some EMAs are, some fibs, etc. And I watch, watch those kind of things. But by no means I see them blow through all the time. If you think about it, the double bottom is nothing more, or the Thunderbolt lightning is nothing more than a double bottom that failed. So I see those all the time. So I don't pretend that I can judge it. So I don't like that. My target is my stop. And that's why there's a bunch of stop management in here. So anyway, your initial stop there. And now in this case, I'm just using 1 contract, so it's irrelevant. I'm not using the break even because I think that's a little dangerous too. Sometimes when especially with NASDAQ, you what, 8 ticks and you go to break even, it kind of just whip you to death. So just give them the money. So then auto trail, if you're familiar with the ATMs, this is similar to the ATM. You've got your 40, it'll start trailing at 40 ticks, and then it'll stop loss is 26, and then at 46 ticks, it'll go to 16. There's reasons for this, and then 16 goes 26 again, and then the frequency, NASDAQ, I'll probably up that to maybe 4 or something. I don't know. I'm gonna play with that, but it'll just change move your stop every 2 ticks right now. Actually for ES and whatnot, I should probably change it to 1. And then these are the ones I like the best. These are pivot trailing stops. I really don't want to get involved in this. It's more in detail. If you do want to go look at the, hold on a second, I'll tell you. If you go into the Helix, as I told you to go to, and I'm just going to pull it over for you real quick. If you go to pivot trailing stop right there, if you go to that video, you'll learn a little bit more about that. It's a pretty cool thing. But anyway, make a long story short, when it sees pivots of this strength, it will then move the stop. And if it will hop, I call it hopscotching. It'll hopscotch and jump into that pivot area. And then once the auto trail catches up, then it'll take over. But then if it finds another pivot, it'll jump. Now, when it gets to 110 ticks into the trade, you see it, it tightens up just a little bit. And again, this is, going to tighten up too. So anyway, they just hopscotch back and forth. That'll be saved for another day. So other than that, the future group, what I have is I have logic written down, but it's not developed yet. And that's my dynamic stop. The dynamic stop is based on, I call it the DNA. Again, it's all Helix business, and there's intra-trade things. And so the way I trade it manually is that as it's going up, I see some trouble spots, if you will. And so I don't want to give back a big chunk of change of winnings if we got these trouble spots that we could see. So I want to tighten it up. If I get popped out, so be it. I'm fine with that. But on the other hand, I'll get right back in again if it sets up again. So I have no problem with that. You can get in so easy. Just it's very easy to get back in. So sure, it might cost a couple of bucks, but that's just part of doing business. But my point of it is that as things change internally and the internal dynamics and the DNA of the market, I want it to tighten up. And so that's future. It's not there yet, but that will go there, and it'll just be another another subsection of the trading management. So that's still to come. So here is the 9A setup. There's a picture on the right, obviously, you can follow along. So I'm not plotting the bottom portion of it here. I'm just doing, so as I mentioned earlier, the trend was a 7-1, the values that I don't like to see, because I know the background colors that I talked about. The background colors there, so I know we're talking about long. So it's a moot point to actually see it. So the background color is the direction. Obviously, that if you don't have a background color, then you're not doing anything. So this one here is I call them the fast and the slow lines. This one here has to cross. So if you see like this one here, it was underneath and it crossed and it took the trade. And this is what I was talking about here, as far as if it starts getting too far away. Now, this is a valid trade, I'm fine with it. But if it starts getting, this is the reversal bar here. If it starts getting too far away from this bar, like if it were to, you wouldn't want it up here. It's too far away. So that invalidation from reversal bar has to come in, probably you don't want to be any further than, this area here. So this is probably the max that I would want to be. This bar would probably void it out and then make it invalid. You just missed it, although you might have gotten in there too. But needless to say, that's what that means. So when this crosses, and then I'll let Lloyd kind of get into it a little bit more. And then the bar actually has to close up. So not only do you want to do that, but you want to do it on a closed bar. So you can see it right there. There's the closed bar. It obviously came down a little bit and then popped you in. Or vice versa. It can close first, but if this doesn't cross, it's got to cross. Again, it has to be so much measurement away from this reversal bar. So it doesn't really matter which one comes first, but you got to have the two of them together. And then I already talked about this group A invalidation. So that was if I get too far away from it. So that's a picture of the trade setup. And then how far it goes, like this one went further than this one. So if we had a target here, then we would have taken our target here and we would have taken the target here. But it's like, how do we know how far it's going to go? So that's again my theory, and I want to no point in about that. So that pretty much covers the settings that I wanted to go over internally. I'll go over some questions and answers if you have any right now. Other than that, I think we're ready to actually go into some actual trades, on playback, obviously, and have them set up, and Lloyd will kind of give you his thoughts on what he does and how he does it. If anybody has any questions right now, before we do that, you could rather go into the chat and ask some questions, or you could actually open up your mic, because this is a meeting. You can turn on your microphone and just speak. And if
I got a
not,
question.
oh, who has a question? Lloyd, you have a question? Okay.
Yeah, when I tell people to download the Helix and they download it, and then they don't seem to have the template right, are they supposed to download it, come back to the website and look for a template and then download that?
The template should be, when you download, the template should be there.
Right.
It's in there already. So when you load your you put it, you install it in the Ninja, whatever. And then when you get into your settings and you just go to save template or to go to load template, and it should be there automatically for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
Steve fixed that, Lloyd.
Okay, because some people downloaded and 7.1 didn't show. So they had to go back in there and then click on the 7.1.
Well,
And then-
7.1, well, that's why I'm kind of going around. That 7.1 is probably off because I don't use it.
Okay.
It's probably I recorded that template when I didn't have it on. One, I don't use 7.1, and actually when I've been playing with the automatic mode doing testing, and I don't need 6.1 either. So here, let me go back to the where are the settings? Right here. So I don't use either of them. I mean, well, like I said, I've been playing around in the automatic mode doing testing, so I don't need. What do you need to see? It's an automatic mode. But
Right, yeah.
but you're right. I understand that when you are doing it manually, you definitely want to turn those on. So if they're not turned on, just go turn them on and plot them. And now you know how to go plot them. Just go to 6.1 and say plot right there. Just check it. None of these you stay, keep the same, but just check that and then you'll see it. But when you launch it, it'll be on. If you want, I know Lloyd, you like to see the 7.1, so you just check, you would check that one and turn that one on, and you'd be able to see that one too.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, but the template should be there. And if it's not, if for some reason, I don't know why it wouldn't be there. Yeah, I mean, I don't, yeah, it should be there. And unless I'm thinking maybe in the future, if I forget to add the template in there, but I'm sure you guys will let me know instantly. So yeah, I won't worry about that right now, but yeah, so now you know, though, if you don't see it, just go in there and uncheck it and turn it on. So when this actually does go in the auto mode, I can tell you right now, 99% of the people are interested in auto mode. So when this is set up for the auto mode and it's working the kind of the way it should be working, then who cares about seeing those at all? And they'll be defaulted to off. So if you want them on, you're going to have to manually turn them on, because I'll just have. And the other thing is that once you've saved your settings, you know, whether it be if you want to change your EMAs or if you want to change your targets and your quantities, let's say you want to put on 10 contracts or whatever, you know, you could do that. So I would recommend going down the template here and then just say save, but I wouldn't save it as the same default that it comes in with. I would name it, you know, your template or something specific. The reason for that is when you download a new version, when the new version gets available, it will ask you a question. Hey, do you want to override the current template? And I would advise yes, because then it will any newest settings that have changed will take over. If you say no to that, then it's not going to do that, and you're going to be dealing with old settings with a newer version, and you're not going to know what the new settings were. So I would recommend saying yes to that. However, if you say yes to that, it's going to override these settings that you've checked on or off or whatever, unless you've saved it as another name. So again, I would call it, you know, Lloyd's template, you know, whatever. And then that way, this is yours. And so when you upload the newer version, it's not going to see Lloyd's template, and it'll just, you know, save it. If that makes sense for people who are tech savvy.
Gotcha.
That's just, you know, basic computers 101 kind of file structure stuff. But anyway, so that's that. So that's where you would find it. But you're more than welcome. You know, if you go into that video that I was telling you about, if you have any questions, go to that. Go to this. Go to the video here, right there, and just click on any one of those if you want to know. Well, I don't know if I have templates in here, to be honest with you. This video won't cover that. Good topic. Maybe I should have a video on how to load templates and all that. But I just talked to you guys all so much in Skype and whatnot, and just in social hour, that I just take it for granted that everybody knows what we're talking about. But I do know a lot of people register. As I said, there's a lot of people that registered for this. I only see 22 people in here, but close to 100 have registered. So they're probably waiting for the video. So that tells me that there's a lot of people that I don't talk to on a regular basis. So they might be new. And that's why I kind of put this slideshow together to kind of go through the basics rather than just jumping in like everybody knows what we're talking about. So any other questions? Other than that, Lloyd, do you want, I can, let me see, end this.
All right.
And let's see, do you want to, do you have download data or not?
No, I want to do something real quick, and then if you need to, we can do it. But I want to show.
On your screen or mine? You want me to stop sharing?
Yeah.
Okay. So Lloyd, you can take it from here.
Okay. You see my charts there?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, I want to say, hey, thanks for spending your Sunday with us and interrupting your football. And so I just want to let everybody know I've been doing real good with this Helix here since Steve got it up there for me. And I've been testing it out for the last 23 days. And out of 23 days, I had 19 winning days and just 3 losing days. So I think that's pretty awesome. And this Helix, the way I use it, is like 3 different ways. But today, I just want to show just the one that, that's the one that's Helix has been set up for. And I'm pretty much, like I say, disciplined, and I'll just wait. It's like fishing. I wait for the fish to bite. If I can get just 1, 2 good trades, that's my $400 for the day. And that's what I look for. And when I'm trading it, sometimes I might slide my stop, sometimes I slide my profit. It just depends on everybody's got different tastes of reward, risk reward management. So if I see a good breakout, I might just move my profit target. But this is where I go here. I look for the first thing I do, I look for the cross on my 6.1, which is right here. It's already crossed already. I already have red bars on 7.1, and that tells me to go ahead and hit the down bar. And I just hit the down bar, make sure it's active, and that's it. That's all I do. There's nothing really hard to it. Now I'm just waiting for this thing that's going down, and I'm waiting for a pullback to get into a buy. And sometimes it might go down, down, down. You may not get it, but that's just it. That's that one strategy that that you can't get picked up on. So here's the first bar up, and this is one trade I may not take because of this 200 moving average. It's kind of like the little danger zone, but this is the setup right there. I got the cross, I got my red bars, I got the green. Now, if it goes 4 to 5 green bars, then I just cancel. I'm not taking that trade. It's already gone too much. So let's see what happens here. So that's 2, that's 3. So now see 4 bars, that's it. That was a bounce off the 200, which is another strategy. That's a bounce off the 200. And I wouldn't take it. So now I just turn my bar off and just go neutral, go get something to eat and come back and just wait for the green bars.
Hey, can
I
I
got my
interject
cross.
real quick here, Lloyd, about the up bars and down bars? The way those have been designed is that when you click on a down bar, that means it's waiting for an up bar,
Mm-hmm.
then it will trigger on a down bar. So if you
Correct.
click it on a down bar and you're already in a down bar and you click it on a down bar, it's not going to take the next consecutive down bar. It's going to wait until there's an up bar. And then when it sees the up bar, it will be active and ready to go on a down bar. So
Right.
the name of the game is that if you see you want to go short, you want to turn that on
Before it goes green.
yeah, you don't want to do it while you're already in a down bar, because now it's too late. Now you got to use the sell market, the SM. That's all.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. If you click on it too late, you won't get picked up on the trade. So here's now looking for a buy. And this is my first indication right here for a buy. I got my bars right here on 7.1. And then I got my cross already. So as soon as I see that, then I click on up bar. And it'll trigger the trade. Now here's a green background. So now I got more confirmation this is a good buy if it comes up. But right there, that's the down bar, what we call reversal bar. Now, if I get another green, it should take the buy. And this is 2 bars, 3 bars, 4 bars. See, now there's no trade again. And I just click off the bar and I just wait again. This could go on all day with the Helix. It could go for a good hour, especially with you guys who are used to the speed of the NASDAQ. You might get a trade in the ES for about maybe an hour and a half. But when you get it, hey, it'll feed you. So now here it is now again. Got my cross down. I got my bar right there. So now I'm gonna click on down bar. And now I need a reversal. Now I'm just waiting for a reversal. And this is another run. This is a run I couldn't catch. So I'm just waiting on the reversal. Now right there's my reversal. And this is the reason I might take the trade, because the trend is really strong. It's 55 negative. or more. So this is the one I go ahead and click on my down bar. It was already done. I'm just waiting for reversal. There it is right there. Now this is my single candle. I love the single candles because they got so much, it's a high probability that I hit my target on those singles. I like the singles and the doubles. It's like baseball. So that's my trade. I probably get a dot right here, and then I'm in the short. And once I get 4 bars or more, I know I got a winning trade, and that's the winning trade right there.
Hey, Could
And
I,
then
could I,
this-
could I interject here real quickly? So on that single reversal bar there that you like, logically, it's not going to take the automatically in the automatic mode. And that's the difference between discretion and automatic. Automatic or automated, you know, whatever, the logic will not take that trade for 2 reasons. One,
right.
the moving averages. The moving averages, and that's why you don't have a background color. You don't have a red background color because your moving averages aren't synced. You notice that big dots is a that's moving average 4. And moving average 4. Now you could take it out of the equation, you just uncheck it, and then it would have you a red background because you'd be red. But right now, the template, the way it's set up is it's requiring to have set up to have EMA 4 in sync. And you could see right there, it's not in sync. So therefore, the automatic mode would not take it. In addition to that is the direction. The direction line didn't cross. It didn't come from above and down. It has to cross over. And so logically, it's not going to do it. But discretionately, you could pick that up. So you could I think everybody would agree to you can make a lot more money discretion trading because you're doing it, you know, assuming you know the rules and you have
definitely
you know, the psychological, all that kind of business. So if you have all that, you definitely get more trades. But if you're waiting strictly on automatic logic, it would not have taken that trade.
Right. Yep. Because you don't have the red background, and like I say, you didn't get the cross back up and then back down.
Are you using the 200 or the, you know, EMA 4 is a 200? So are you using that at all or no?
I only use the 200 if I have a setup and it's too close to 200, then I won't take it. I might do a micro on it.
Well, if you go into your settings real quick, I'll show you. We'll show everybody here real quick. Go to your settings real fast. And if you go into 2.1, you don't have to undo it. I just want to show you where it's at. Go to 2.1 right there. And if you go 2.1.3, if you uncheck that, that will take that EMA 4 out of the equation. You see,
right here,
no,
right there.
No, those are higher time frames. The EMA orientation 2.1.3, where it says require EMA 4, row number 213, right there.
Okay, yeah.
2.1, it's group 2, and it's the, you know, one, so and it's a numbering system that I have, but 2.1.3 is require EMA. If you uncheck that, then it would have a red background right now.
Okay, I see.
So you can get out of here.
Yeah.
You can't.
All right. Okay. But this also is a breakout too, because once these bars get past 50, negative 50 or plus 50, that's like my breakout. And I like the breakouts. And if you get one pullback and if only one single candle or even 2 candles, there's a good chance manually you can take that and then you can just catch that continuation trade down and just run it. Just keep moving your stop. And then right there, that's why I'm out. With this first green candle sits up. And that's it. That's all I do. Now take this off. This will be off. And now I'm waiting for if I get a buy. I got a red background. I do get a it comes out of there. Yeah, it came out of the background color. Now if I get another sell, I take it right now. Here, I don't have a buy here because number one, it's already crossed, but I still don't have a green. I still don't have a green bar. So that's not my trade. There's a double, triple. So yeah, so wasn't a buy anyway. So no good setup here at all. No green bars, no nothing. This is just close to 200. Like I say, taking trades close to 200, I kind of like just pass on and wait for the next setup. Try to do the
That-
best of the best.
Actually, there is the no trade zone that is around the 200, and it's an orange bar basically, and that will prevent, in the automatic mode, that will prevent anything from being done at the 200.
Right. That's it. Because see here, here's my green bar again. There's a green bar. I already had to cross. And if you can get away from the 200, I might take it. Now this right here, it's a little bit past the
So you'd have a
200.
green background right now without that 200 being in there.
Okay.
If
And there's
you want
one.
that, if you want, you can do it now if you want it. I mean, you want to see what it looks like, but from looking at the way you're trading, because all I see is your posts, but now that I see the way you're doing it, you would probably want to take that out of the equation because you use it as
coming
a
in late.
visual aid, but you're not using it as your logic.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'll check that tonight.
Because if you went back where you said that first bar when it went up, you would be considered taking it at was it 10 o'clock?
This one here.
At 10 o'clock. You said you would consider it, but it's going into the 200, like right around there.
Yeah.
That would not give you a green background because if you notice the EMA 1, 2, and 3 are not synced.
No, not at
So
all.
you wouldn't get your green background until 10, what, 4 more bars, go 4 more bars, and then you would get your background color.
Right. Now this right here is the twins I look for. If I get, this goes back to green, so I'm already clicking on the up bar right here. If I can get this to stop and then turn around for a buy, it's above the 200, I'm taking it. So this is 3 there. Now see, I take a shot right there. That'd be my buy right there. I only had 3. It's above 200, still green. And then say that'd be a loss right there. But it's worth the risk because you got put my stop just below that moving average, below 200. And then wait till you get it past the this 200 moving average.
That's the reason why we have the no trade zone around the 200. You see the
Yeah,
crap there.
yeah. Now it's another breakout. Green
There's
background.
your colors now.
There's a color. Yep. There's a reversal. So you should have your up bar already active there. And then you got 2, 3, and then there's the buy.
And you can't forget to turn it off, by the way. If it keep going down and down and down and down and down, but you kept it on, well, one, you would see it chase you down, but you definitely, there comes a point where you want to turn it off.
Right. Yeah. Now, this would be a loss right here because it has to go at least 4 candles to be a winning trade. So that right there is out. So it went close to, this might be in a break even because it got there, it might got 2 points and then back. So now I'm just waiting for it to get back to the colors again. And here's my green bars. Come back up. Go back to it. Yep. So now here's a down. I got the cross, I got the red ones again, and now I'm clicking on down bar. If it's too close to the 200, I won't take it, and that's it. No setup. Here's the buy setup again. So I got to go back to the up bar. Yesterday was kind of rough day for a while. I think I ended up in a negative. If I had kept trading for another hour, I would have been up 400. Yep, there's your reversal. Now you need to just hit back, and there's the buy. Yep, down. This is like, yes, this is yesterday. This is how I kept doing this. And back again. If it breaks out, it's a breakout here. Well, that's another setup. If it breaks past this 68.75, and this is almost to 50, must be a breakout for a buy. Just didn't go. So now I'm just waiting for another retrace. Still got the cross. Came down here, didn't quite cross. Let's see. Nope. No buy. No sell.
And don't forget to turn it off for your long.
Yeah, turn it off. Right. Yeah. Once we're in the trade room starting tomorrow, and I'll be showing that. Now here's, like I say, this is another chance for a buy. Let's see if we get a reversal.
Oh, I forgot totally about that, to even mention that, Lloyd. You just mentioned it. If anybody wants to go in the trade room, go into the community tab, and Lloyd's going to be showing his screens tomorrow in the trade room. So if you guys want to come in there, you're more welcome.
Yeah, there's 3 candles. That's the buy right there again. And then finally got a trade. This is why, because I had those 2 losses, this is why my slide keeps sliding my stop. Because once again, the trend is 88. So if it's above 55 or more, I like to stay in because that's when you get your runners, when you pop in those 50s and 60s. This is in the 80s. And right there, you out. You still got a good trade. So you probably made up for your losses on that one if you can stay in. And then there's another strategy too here about these wicks that I do. You'll see that in trade room. How you can catch some ticks on that when you got your super trend breaking out. And this is how I was able to, have a good, good day before 11:30. But there's no buy here because still hadn't quite crossed there, still down. I'm just waiting there. Here's the cross. Here's the cross. Now I need a reversal. Need a reversal. Not going to get it. Not going to get it. Yep. So right here now, it's kind of like, the run has been going pretty good to get in here for the 5th, but the 5th, what do you call it? 5th continuation trade is, I don't know. So that's up to each individual. They want to take that. If I get 1 bar, I might take it, but 2 or 3, nah, nope. Yeah. So I read it right. As long as you can read these charts pretty, the right way, you can make some money. But once it goes auto, then all this is out the window. Just turn it
Well,
on.
it's like anything though. It's just all screen time. You put
Yeah.
enough time in it, you're gonna get recognized. It's like a cardiologist. They look at it and they go, "Oh, you're in VTech," or "Oh, you're a systole, you're dead." Just flatline.
Yeah.
They just look at these charts and you just know instantly. Or any chart that you look at. I'm sure everybody has their own charts that they look at and they can tell.
Yeah. Yeah. And this right here is the it's reversal. But to me also, because it's been running so much, this could be a good sell. There's reversal he picked up. Yeah, went good. I like those singles. Went to the high of the day.
Yeah. There's the. Oh, now you're getting the current time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That bar right, that long bar right there, just so everybody knows, is part of the high of the day. But the reason why you're seeing it now is because you're not all the way at current time, and you have this set for really long. I only have mine set for. Can I show you where to go on that? If you go to your settings real quick, I'll show you where to go on that. If you go and I'll show you also, since we're getting in here. Go into the high of the day, which is the exclusions. So it's 2 point. There's VWAP there first. We'll talk about that one, I guess. So if you wanted to plot VWAP, you could plot that one. But you see there at 2.4.6, which is the VWAP zone. There's your zone.
Right.
And you could say, I don't, if you want to plot it or not, you could turn off the plotting if you don't want it. But if you wanted to turn on the zone, which his is off right now, 2.4.1. But if you turn on VWAP and turn that one on, the zone is 10, -20, 20, -10. Basically what that means, it just puts this orange, I have the construction orange, like a caution that says, hey, this is near VWAP, and you're probably not going to want to do that. If you go further down, right there on VWAP, last line, he has this plotting for 100 bars in length, and that's why we're seeing it right now. That's not VWAP, but it's the same thing on the high of the low. So he does have a high of low, which is 2.5.1 there, the day high low. That one is on. So go down a little further. And there's a zone. It's 10 ticks of zone. That's the one we're looking at right now, that orange. and it sinks starting at 7 to 6, whatever. But you notice his zone is 10 ticks from the high or 10 ticks from the low, meaning that you don't want to take a trade. But if you notice, he has a 2.511 on the 11th line. He has 100 in there. That's set for 100 bars. That's going to plot. I have mine set for like, I think 8 or 10, because I want to see it on my current bar, but I don't need to see it way back here because we're looking at past data, so do you really need to see it here? It doesn't really matter unless you want to, that's an option, but that's what I'm talking about as far as the, how far long you want those to plot. So anyway, you can get out of there.
Okay. That's pretty much it. This is just the one strategy that I look for in step 1, cross, step 2, bars, step 3, hit your bar. And then once the trade is over, it's going to go neutral, and then you get ready for the next one. And then look for the cross, step 1, look for your bar, step 2, hit your down bar or up bar, whatever the trade is. And that's pretty much it. That is the simplest thing with Helix. It's real simple.
Do you ever use the buy market or sell market?
I do on the breakout. Like, this is a breakout to me. If I miss it, say I miss it and it doesn't, like I said, I forgot to hit the up bar, down bar. Yeah, I hit that buy market.
Okay.
Yeah, puts me in a trade right away. I did that Friday. Yep. Try to catch that. What was it? End of day run. Yeah, this is it. This is the end of day run. It was about close to, 2 o'clock. This is the one I caught.
Nice run.
Yeah. So even though I post on the Skype group that I finished down 419, but actually I came back and made it up. I think I made it up back here. Let's see, was it? Yeah, right in there. It was a short that I took, and then there was these wicks which I be doing in the room. I took those. I caught that one, and I ended up with 455 Friday.
Nice.
Yeah. So Helix can get you out the hole if you continue to trade, but that depends on your capital there. And once I hit my goal of 400, 450, I'm done anyway.
Now let's talk about your stop management on here. With ES, because you trade ES, I don't.
Right.
You're looking, what if you go to your group B there, and let's look at your numbers here real quick. Let's see what you're looking for.
Oh, you're talking about my first target is 10.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. But that's different than on gold, right? Or is it?
Right, it's different on gold. Yeah.
The alpha group, so group B. So keep going. There you go, right there. All
Yeah.
right, so you got 10 ticks of target.
Yeah.
Then 16 tick stop, and then a 16 tick target and a 16 tick stop.
Right.
Okay. So you're not looking for the runner.
No, only time I look for if I catch I do it manually. If I see it's going to be breaking out, and I push it
Oh,
up
you just
some.
manually move it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just manually move it right there. But at least with a 16 tick stop target, it gives me enough time to, see if I'm going to move it or not. And it also depends on the price action. If market's kind of choppy, I'm just happy with 16 ticks and wait for the next one.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But if it's trending real good and
sure,
I got my bar saying, plus 55, and I'm taking the chance of moving it.
Yep. Okay.
So yeah, and that is the Helix, guys. That's how it works. I see some questions in the chat. You check those?
Sorry about that. Let me see. Oh, Frosty, I don't know if you want me to mention that this was to me directly, so maybe I shouldn't say anything, but I'll throw you under the bus. You had $3,500 and you lost it all because you were bored. He says he had the board. We were talking earlier about the board trade. He was up $3,500 and then he was bored, so he kept trading and he lost and he gained $28. So I just threw you under a bus there. Sorry about that. Anyway, do you use the default settings 14 and 50 average for trend? 14 and 50.
14,
yeah, whatever
50.
the default numbers are in there is what we use. Yes. So those are hard defaulted. Now, eventually what I'll do is I'll have these hard, I'm switching numbers so fast all the time. I can't keep up with it. But at some point I will, every once in a while I do it, and I will change the defaults internally and then export it so it's hard coded in there. Those right there, if you're talking about the trend, 7.1, the 14 period and the 50, those are hard coded. So yeah, we'll turn on your settings, Lloyd, real quick. Go to 7.1, which is the trend. And you'll see the settings that he's talking about here.
7.1.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me,
Right,
little up more, a little up, down. Going too fast. There we go. All right. Right. 7 point right there. So 14 is the period. That's just all standard period. And then 50, that's what you're referring to. Yes. So those are hard coded, and even if you did get a template, it would be the same. But you know, it's always good to double check anyway. Thanks, Stephen Lloyd. Gotta go. Okay, already. This one's to you, Lloyd. Trying to follow along on my chart, what day and time zone. Oh, that's good. I forgot to mention that. I don't know about you, Lloyd, but I only day hours, you know, market hours. Is
Yeah,
what
I started.
I found the pre-market just crappy.
Yeah, I started 9:30 Eastern time and try to be done by 12 o'clock.
I have
Noon.
found 9:30 also is not the greatest either. I give it 5 minutes to what I call flushing the toilet, because
Yeah.
it just goes kind of nuts. Just let it flush out there a little bit, just a few minutes, you know, until you could tell when it's calming down, and then you could say, okay, let's look at our charts now. So
yeah. That's it. Like I say, it's my winning percentage is like 66%. I think. Let me see. I did the trade performance and like 66%, which is pretty good.
I like I look at the profit factor. Anything over 1.5 is what I like. And you're
Yeah.
at 209. So
Yeah. Now, not all these trades are Helix. Some of these trades are my own. Like
sure.
I have pullbacks. I look at those wick trades, you know. Right here's a wick trade. I put my buy right there at let's see, look like 13 and ride it on up like 15. Try to get 3 points out of each wick, but only if this is above 55 or more. Yeah, here's just a regular trade.
Right.
Yeah, single. I love the singles and the doubles, and that's
You can
it.
win a lot of baseball games with singles.
Yeah. So with gold, I do trade gold sometime, but my profit target's a little different. My stop's a little different. You know, I try to get 15 ticks on that gold.
What are the stops then?
And my stop is like 20 ticks.
Okay. Do you just change? You have a separate template for that, or you just switch them?
I had a separate chart. It's on my other computer over here.
Yeah, but you just change the settings manually, or you have it?
I did it manually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just did it manually.
Yeah. Okay. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been trading live now since right after Christmas. I went live in my live account, and then I did got even more aggressive after New Year's Day. So been doing pretty good. So try to get at least $300 to $400 out of that, and then just keep building it up. I think overall you can probably do like 30% a month with this Helix thing. And that's just one strategy, right, Steve? You got just one strategy.
Yeah, that's just one. As I said earlier, I don't know, maybe it was before the recording or not, is I'm working on setup 3, to doing the logic on setup 3. I actually started 3 before I did 9. And but 9 is a simpler one, but my 3 is definitely a lot more you know, but I do like it, and I can't wait to get that one up and running. And then you can have as many setups as you want. If you go down here, go turn on your settings again. If you go down to group G, I've showed the picture of it on this slideshow, but if you go to group G, you'll see down at the bottom, you'll see all the setups in there, and you'll see how that broke out. Like 9 is 9A, 9B, 9C, and that's just breaks in there. But keep going right there. So 1 and 2 basically is just the generic stuff that I started with, and that could work, but it's just, you got to fine tune it and get the right settings and entry zones and all that stuff. Group 3 is the one I'm working on right now. Group 4 is for external execution. So for instance, if you had your own method that you wanted to trade on, maybe a different chart or something like that, but you wanted to use Helix to do the stop management or maybe do the recording of data or something like that, you could turn on Group 4, and it doesn't look at the internal Helix settings, it looks at your account settings, and it sees an order and then it treats it as its own kind of thing. And so we could track it that way. And then 9 is the one we're talking about. Obviously 5, 6, 7, and 8, I don't have it implemented yet. I jumped right to 9. I do have paperwork on them, but they're just not logically in there. So 9A, B, C, and D are empty too right now, because I'm concentrating on 9A. But once 9A is done, 9B, C, and D, well, maybe not D, but they're very similar, the same type of logic, just different conditions, and that's why they're specific. And then Group D is a reversal, so that obviously will have to, a reversal would wipe out any type of, it would exclude any kind of orientation of EMAs, because obviously they would be all mismatched. So that would have a separate set of rules, but you could turn on these at one time. You could do 9A, B, C, and D together. Once the logic's in there, you'll be able to do A, B, C, and D. And as long as you're flat, it'll take it. Whatever setup comes along, it'll take it if it happens to be a continuation or whatever. And you'll be able to, now in this case, we only have 9A, so that's all it's going to take. And quite frankly, that's the only logic that's in there now anyway. So even if you did have, but I would not turn on 1 and 2 and 4, and I wouldn't do that because they're specific. So anyway, that's what we're talking about there. So my 3 is the one that I'm kind of personally interested in as soon as I get that. But I'm not.
You got another question in chat there.
Oh, so Bruce asked about, can the strategy be back tested and optimized with Strategy Analyzer? Yes and no. Technically, this is a, what do they call it? A unmanaged, or is it managed? I don't know, one of the two. This is a managed strategy, I think it is, or unmanaged. It's unmanaged. I forget which way it is. But in any event, Strategy Analyzer does not use unmanaged strategies. This is all internal logic. It only does, basic stuff. However, we do have something in there that you would be able to test. I know, Jimmy, maybe you have a little bit more feedback on that. You're more than welcome to turn on your mic if you want. But I haven't really played around with it that much. I know there's some stuff in there, but I don't really, I haven't spent time on it. You're more than welcome to download it, throw it in Strategy Analyzer, and throw in some numbers and see what happens, and let us know. That's the whole purpose of the, the whole beta testing thing. It will need the 1 tick thing, I believe, because I think Jimmy was the one that mentioned it needs to have like a 1 tick series to pull in some data or something like that. Again, I haven't really gotten too much involved in the Strategy Analyzer on it. So to answer your question, I don't know if it would work or not. I don't think it will, because it's managed or unmanaged, one of the two. You can go look it up if you just Google NinjaTrader 8 unmanaged, just unmanaged. It'll pull up data on that, but you have to be a coder to understand it, and I'm not a coder.
Yeah, and the other question on the Helix, I don't trade 5 minutes before the news, and I wait till about 5 minutes after the news, and then look for the next trade.
Yeah, flushing the toilet.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the time frame of, would you say, getting the logic on this thing?
Okay. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I did get the logic yesterday on the trade itself, and I'm very comfortable with it's doing the trade. Here, I can show you.
Okay, I can. So I'm done. I can do the stop share.
Okay, you can. I'll share mine again. Then go ahead. Let's see. Share screen. Let's see. Where am I going here? I want to share the screen here. Can you see the screen here?
Yep.
ES, right? Is that what you're doing, ES?
Mhm.
So let me turn this on. Let me just double check. So if I turn that on, oh man, let's see what I got here. I think I have yesterday's data. I should probably slow it down. Let me turn this off. Okay. What time is it? It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. So these lines here are going to be replaced with the entry zone. These are just vertical lines that show the trip there, and I want to be able to have the entry zone there for people who are familiar with that. I won't get into that too much, but so you can see it's 2 o'clock in the morning, but it took the trade, and it's tripping. And if it didn't take that one, or it took that one, and or maybe it's this one. I took this one, I guess. So you never know. 54 ticks on ES. You don't know. How do you know? There's, I mean, I suppose I could put some resistance and some fibs on there and some other charts and Keltner channels and all that garbage, but it's like,
Nah,
who are we to say? You know, we don't know.
we don't know
So
yet.
here, I'll put on my status box, which you guys, I love the status box. So, you know, basically this is this instrument right here, 305. So this is the, I think I played a little bit with crude. I should have, yeah, I got crude on here too. But this instrument, we're just looking at this instrument. So yeah, so here's another for it. This is, so now this is 4 o'clock in the morning. So I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be traded at 4 o'clock in the morning. I wouldn't want to turn it on and go to bed. I don't know if I'd be able to sleep. I'd probably be on my phone watching my computer and I wouldn't be sleeping. So you know, take it for what it's worth. But what were we saying though? Let's see. Are these setups more volatile at times? Are these setups more volatile at times? The setups are the setups. I mean, the question is the market more volatile? Well, of course, the market is volatile all kinds of given times. If we knew exactly when it was going to be volatile, then other than news, you know, then we'd be, you know, probably all be millionaires. But the market's kind of hard to tell. I mean, other than news, you don't really know. So anyway, the entry zone is going to be plotting, would plot like right here. It would look like that, you know, for long. And it would be like this. It would look like that. For people who know what that looks like. And a short, you know, kind of look like this, if that were a setup, you know, kind of thing. That's not a setup. But so that's the entry zone. So then all you're just waiting for is to stop, and then you could, you know, you have a visual on it. Right now we have the line after the fact, but that was just for coding. That'll disappear. So yes, you asked about time. So I do feel comfortable about where and how it's tripping. What I still have to wait for is some exclusions, meaning the high of the day. And if you know, this is my zone, I only have it for, what is that, 10, 13 bars. So it doesn't go as long as yours, 100 bars. I kind of just like to see it right there. And the other one, you've noticed I don't even have EMAs because I've been playing with the auto mode. So I mean, what do I need to see EMAs for? If my background's my background, then I don't need to see it because I know it's going to be there. Actually, I don't even need to see the bottom one, but I've been testing it. So getting back to, so there's no trade zone here is not where I want it yet, nor is the invalidation at the reversal bar. So for instance, like right here, for instance, let me shut this off. So we're going down, well, it's a green background, but let's assume it's a red background. It's going down. We're looking to get in. This here is the area that we're kind of looking at right there. And if things happen and it trips here, let's say, we don't want it. It's too far away, and it would measure from the reversal bars open to the low. It's 29 ticks. It's too far, you know, kind of thing, and it would just invalidate itself. So you don't want to have things hanging out there that are just, because you got to remember it's got to have the reversal bar, which is there, and then it has to have the crossover. Well, if the crossover doesn't happen for 15 bars, do you really want it? So that's not working yet. So that's why it's still taking the trades, but there's some trades that it should not take. And until I get that, that's kind of what I'm waiting for. Now, if you notice, I have it in the auto mode. You can do longs and shorts only, that kind of thing, or you buy, mark, sell, and all that. And then, of course, you want to get out, just hit exit. But any other questions? I'm all on questions, right? Anybody else? If you guys going to open your mics, we can kind of open it up. Otherwise, I'll turn off the recording and then we could open. That's when people come out of the woodwork. Once I turn off the recording, then they start opening up. So, in any event, I'll let this run for a second. Any other questions? Lloyd, you got anything else? Steve, I recommend download trial version of Blizzard.
Nope, just let
Zero
everybody know.
lag indicator.
Just not be in the trade room tomorrow about 9:15.
And what are you going to be showing? What charts?
Just the ES. That's me. I'm just the ES man.
God, boring.
Sorry. I'm just the ES man, and gold every now
I
and
know,
then.
but geez, it's like
Yeah.
watching paint dry.
Hey, turtle's a turtle.
I know. You have the patience to do that. I will be trading NASDAQ on my computer, but I'll watch it. I'll be in there, but I'll be trading on the side. So here you go. Here, so this is ES again. Who's to say how long it's going to go? I don't know how long these are going to go, and I have no clue. But I've seen what 250s now, 50 ticks, and you're getting 16. I mean, that's the thing. Is like you're risking. I go with the math. You're risking 16 ticks of stop, or was it? Yeah, you're going for 10 of profit, but you're going for 16 on the stop. So if you lose 16, that means you have to have basically 1.5 winners to make up for the one loser. To me, the math just doesn't seem to work out there.
Yeah, well, that's why I say I move my
Hey,
profit
Steve?
targets sometime.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Maybe explain how to put the status box on, because that's a little tricky.
Okay. Well, you would for people. This is the status box, by the way. This is This is not part of Helix. This is if you come here and you go to tools and you go to status box and you go to download right there. Same thing. I need your third-party ID. Blah blah blah. This is free. It's no big deal. It's just a little fun.
I mean that it's a drawing item.
Oh yeah, it's a drawing tool. So I have it set up as a hotkey, but down here it's the status box, and I have it set up as Alt-1 because I can just do it with my left hand real quick. But if you don't have it set up as a hotkey, then you would just click it and then click anywhere on your chart. It'll pop it to its default. Now, if you want to click on it and go into the default settings, you can just double click on any one of the borders there, the lines. And if you don't want to plot, let's say your spouse is in the room and you want to take that off, then you don't see financials. If you don't want to see the ATM, which if you're running a strategy, you don't need to see an ATM, so you can take that off. If you want to, now this is yours, Jimmy. This is your plot time. If you don't want to see how long you've been in a trade, but actually now that I've got that, I like that. I like to see how long I've been in the trade. So I do like that, and thank you for that. Stats is the latest thing we've added, and I do like that. That's always on, and that's how many trades. And I do notice, keep in mind, and I might change this a little bit, but that's contracts. Now you notice I'm trading 1 contract, so that's 10 trades. I noticed that when I was trading 2 contracts and playing with 2 it would show 20. Well, that kind of throws you off because it's not 20 trades, it's 20. I consider a trade a setup. If you put on 100 contracts on 1 setup, is it 1 setup or is it 100 setups? To me, it's 1 setup. So I might have to tweak that a little bit, but needless to say, that's what that means. And then for the ones that are dealing with MAE and MFE, that just tells you your stats right there at a quick glance, averaged since this has been on. So that's that. And then, just to apply, let me turn on I don't need the ATM, and I'll just put financials on. So that's the status box, and you can download it. It's just a toy. I did it for me because I have multiple charts up, and the way it looks here, like the unrealized. So if I had something going on my other chart, it would show unrealized, and you see that number, even though I'm not on a contract right now. That just shows your account. Anything on the account that's unrealized will show a number there, and then it'll show unrealized for this instrument. So when we go into a trade on this instrument, then it's going to show this instrument. And then this is the instrument P&L for each one. So for instance, if I went over here and brought this up, you could see like over here, ES is in a trade, or well, it was. This instrument's down negative 124. This instrument's up 998. So let me turn this one on. And there's our stats there. So you can see when you have multiple charts, you can get the feedback from which instruments, winning. And then you could pause it if you want, depending on what you want to do with it, it's here nor there. So anyway, this is net too, unlike Ninja's chart trader, which shows gross. I don't care about growth. It gives me a false sense that I can't tell you how many times especially with NASDAQ, I can't tell you how many times you're looking, oh, I won, and then you get your P&L at the end next day, and you're like, well, I didn't win, So it's like that to me is false. I've talked to Ninja on it. They don't have it available. I know it's on their to-do list, but who knows when that'll come. So until then, it's here. This is your net, assuming you have your commissions set up for that. So anyway, that's the status box. All right, anything else? Anybody? I think I covered all the, Bruce recommended the zero lag indicator for continuouses, pullbacks. I'll look into it, Bruce. I think I might even have it. Sounds familiar, but maybe not. Signals in the work, well, the confirmation here, eccentricity. I don't trade ES at all, really. I mean, I have it on the bot, on automatic on a sim just to monitor it, but I don't look at it, so I can't be the judge of it. Anyway, we're getting there. So here's our no trade zone here. If we're going to the low of the day, and you see we got a red background, so we're still waiting here. It's not set up yet, but you can see if we start getting into the low of the day, it's not going to do it if certain conditions don't match up. So it has to have additional settings or additional, logic to do that. Otherwise, it won't do it. And then the same thing goes with the no trade zone. Let me show you that real quick here. Let me go into here, turn this off. On number 4, which is, we have it set for and you could put any EMA you want on here. If you want a minute EMA, we don't want 15 minute or something, you could plot a 15 minute. So I'll go ahead and plot this. And I'm going to plot the zone too. You can turn on the zone on or off. I'm going to turn it on. So in this case, I'm doing this chart, the Ninja Renko 12-4 chart. It's going to be a 200 EMA. And here's my zone criteria. I'm going to make it go for 13 bars in length. My occupancy is just a faint 10 because I don't need to have it so prevalent that I can't see the bars underneath it. And then I'll just go from there. And you can see now automatically, logically, it won't take a trade. It won't take a trade when it gets into there. So if there were a setup right now, it wouldn't take it at all. In the auto mode, that is. Manual mode will do whatever you tell it to do, with the exception of time of day. Then it won't do it. But if you say go and you're right there, like Lloyd was showing earlier, it would do it, but not in the auto mode. Auto mode is a no trade zone. It has to get out of this area. If you notice, it kind of is offset a little bit, meaning that when it's when the price is above it, it's got higher there, and when it's below it, it has more here. And you could change the numbers in there, but it's for a reason. Like right here, it just went down. The reason for that is that when you're above it, you're okay to take longs because you're going against it. So if it does come down and qualify off the 200, that's pretty powerful. So we're okay with that for a long, but we wouldn't want a long here. If it's set up here, we want to protect ourselves a little bit because we don't want to be going into the 200. So that's why it's kind of offset like that. And I might tweak those numbers around a little bit. We'll see. I got to get some serious data first to go into the spreadsheet. Oh, I have it on pause. Oh crap! Turn it on. Sorry. Anyway, so that's the EMA 4, and you notice now that we're going up, now our zone is up here. It toggles back and forth between the high of the day and the low of the day, depending on which direction you're going. So you'll see this pop back and forth, but this one will stay on all the time. And then the other one is what is the other one? There's another no trade zone. I forget where it is right now. Anyway, so I think that's it. Lloyd, you got anything? All right.
No, that's it for me.
Steve, it's Bruce. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Bruce. Here, let
Okay.
me stop the recording. Let me
Yep.
put on. Let's see what I got here.
Okay.
Let me do. If anybody has, let's see here real quick. I want to do that. Let's go down here. Just go through here. Here. This is there. We go. If anybody has any questions, I think you kind of know how to get a hold of me. Just the contact page. And Skype, if you want to join our Skype room, you're more than welcome. Our Skype group.
Everybody knows how to get into the room, trade room. Everybody knows.
Oh, I can show that here real quick. Let me see. Web. If you
It's not
go,
the social hour.
yeah, if you go to the community. Here's this chat down here. Oh, by the way, this is my latest toy here. This is just me here. So I don't have the service. I don't pay for it. So it's just me. If I'm not here, I'm not going to answer you. But if you go into there and you put in, hey, start a new conversation. If I'm available, you'll get me. If I'm not available, you won't get anything, and I'll just have to get back. It'll turn into an email if you want, and that'll be the end of it. But I'm here for the most part, most of the time. So that's my latest toy. But if you want to, personally direct chat me, you could do that. That's basically a link directly to me.
Well, I don't see your
The
screen.
trade room is what he's talking about right now. And then the Skype traders group, there's an invite if you want to join our Skype group.
Steve, we're just seeing the black attendees chart
Your screen's gone.
table. Yeah,
Oh.
we're not seeing your screen.
Oh, man. Well, let me see here. Hold on a second. I didn't share screen. That's why. Hold on a second. Sorry about that.
You're doing great until now.
Oh, yeah. I knew there'd be a mess up tonight. Now you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's community. So this is the chat I was telling you about right there. So if you want to, you're just going to get me if you start that. If I'm here, if I'm not, you're not going to get me. But there's the trade room that he's talking about. Just Monday through Friday. He's just going to pop it. You shouldn't need that code. That's just the phone number. You shouldn't need that because this link will take you right there. And the same with this is just the invite for if you want to get involved in our traders group. And there's my direct chat if you want to schedule an appointment. You've got some technical issues. I've really been trying to get social hour for technical issues. I'm trying to be there on as much as I can to be there for tech support. So, I mean, obviously you could use the chat. There's other ways to get a hold of me, but we could share screens and that kind of stuff. And then other people might be able to learn too. So that's the social hour. Bruce, did you have a question or?
Not about Helix. I wanted to talk to you about the status box.
Okay.
If you want to stop the recording, we can do it afterwards.
Well, if it's about status box, I'll leave it on real quick and then what's the question?
Sure. Well, the question is, you've done 95% of the work I would want to have done in order to track scaling in and scaling out on a single trade. Because I don't know if you're following Tom Hugard, but he's basically saying that scaling in and adding to your winners is, in the long run, the best way to be profitable. And one thing you could do with your status box is keep track of profits you've already taken. So let's say you've got 4 contracts in, you get to what you think is a target area for other traders, you take one off, so you've already made a profit, which effectively moves the break even for the entire trade. So if you could track that sort of a moving break even, that allows you to add another contract when the pullback looks like it's going to continue and keep adding positions, but still managing your risk. Are you following me?
You're saying like maybe under here or above the gross P&L or whatever, put in there a
break even, an effective break even, because
for the particular trade though.
For the number of positions that you have currently, so and their average price. So if you
okay, so the current one, okay, because this one right here, these stats are all post. These are all post trade.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying intra trade data.
Correct. Yeah. So while a trade is still live, you're able to track what you've already made on the trade and what that has done But so you add another contract. So you're back to your original 4 contracts. You've taken one off
Yeah.
as a profit, added it back in again. Now that moves your break even on the 4 existing contracts that you have. That way you can manage a much larger position and still be safe.
Yeah, I kind of know what you're saying. It needs to be, mathematically drawn up and put together. And if you want to email me that mathematical formula, that'd be great.
Okay, sure.
I'll
Yeah,
dump some stuff on
well,
you.
Well, no, Ninja has a lot of that current position as so you're okay. I'll do it. Yeah,
I know you're
it's the
talking
math.
about just getting the data and sticking it right. I would do probably right above the realized, because the realized is obviously just that realized. This is realized. This is the realized instrument. And then I would probably put it under, or maybe between the open and the unrealized. And the reason why I say that is because this is open position is just that open, unrealized is unrealized. And then you would have your unrealized trade, if you will. And then you can get into the instrument P&L and then all the post realized stuff. But the other thing is no, that's fine because it still won't be too big. I just don't want to be able to have, if I have all this on, now if I'm trading manually, I like to see the ATM. I don't need the ATM if I'm on a strategy because it doesn't use the ATM, so I don't need to see it. But if you have all these checked on, I don't want the whole thing to be taking up a whole bunch of, 5 inches long of stuff. So I want to kind of somehow keep it to a manageable number.
I think we're talking about 2 or 3 more lines, some of which can be turned off.
I'm thinking you could probably get it to probably 1 to 2 lines, maybe.
Okay.
There's things you can combine. Like I've got this combined right here. So I got trades, MAE is 10, MFE is 25 in ticks. So yeah, it could be done, probably squeezed together in 1 or 2 lines or something, but I definitely want to keep it at a glance. And then if it, for people who don't want it, you just uncheck it. It's easy enough to do. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Good suggestion.
Sure.
All right. Anyway, let me start the recording. Then I think that's about it. And then we could have everybody open up and then they'll come out of the woodwork.
Sure.